Let's talk about The Last Ranger by J.D.L. Rosell. Hello everyone, welcome back to A Fictional Escapist. My name is Kris and today's video is The Last Ranger book review. This was a Kickstarter by J.D.L. Rosell which took the world by storm. If you can hear that panting, rest assured it's not me. There is a very large, very annoying black dog directly behind this camera, so I'm not sure if the mic is picking it up. Before we jump into the review today, make sure you're checking out the description box down below for links to my social media and Discord should you want to come along for the ride. The Last Ranger gave the reader this beautifully vivid world which was so full of lush terrains and awe-inspiring beasts and political entities looking to get ahead by whatever means necessary at every corner. Leanne is a ranger of the Titan Wilds, a vast wilderness housing many dangers, including the Titans themselves, giant godlike creatures because there is more than one, which are slumbering in the depths of these forests, until awakening to wreak havoc on unsuspecting settlements. Her job is to scout the lands solo or with a crew to ensure the safety of those lands, its creatures, and also her fellow rangers. She's under the tuition of an older gentleman by the name of J.D.L, and she has learnt to be one of the best rangers out there. She will have to put those skills to use if she is to put the pieces of what comes next together. When tragedy strikes and the ranger's lodge falls, Leanne somehow survives by tapping into her Mahia, or her magic, which she also believes is her curse and her downfall. This is a secret magical ability that she carries around close to her chest and doesn't really want anyone to know about. Through survival, she seeks vengeance for the lodge and all the people that were in it at the time of its burning. Only as she moves forward in her quest, she becomes more and more caught up in a much bigger political game. If she fails, the legacy of the ranger dies with her. She cannot let that happen, even if it means showing the world just who she really is and what she can do. That was the premise in a nutshell. This is sort of a revenge tale, sort of an adventure, sort of questy feeling, but at the heart of it, Leanne, our main ranger, is seeking revenge for what has happened to her fellow employees and her livelihood, the place that she was taken in by when she was a young girl, and basically this father figure who had mentored her throughout her entire life. And we do get to see a little bit of that unfold throughout the story, but it feels like it was so much more than that. There was so much that I enjoyed in this first installment of a new series. The world building was excellent, the magic was awesome, and the sheer magnificence of the Titans are my top picks. So one of my favorite things in this book was the feel of the world itself. If you're looking for a book that feels like a video game, probably pick this one up. It very much gave me Horizon Zero Dawn crossed with Tomb Raider vibes. It felt like an open world. There were things like caches where Leanne had to go and find these caches to get supplies, and it felt like an awesome action adventure video game, and I had a lot of fun with it for that aspect. And we also had a range of NPC-like characters which came into the story at opportune times, and they built into things that felt like quests, but it also feels like those players will have a bigger part in the story as a whole as we progress through the series. By doing this, The Last Ranger felt so immersive to me as a reader and someone who has played those games growing up. I felt like I was exploring this world myself through that type of lens. And for visual readers, the prose of this book is so immersive and vivid that you'll feel like you're right at home and that you're in it and you're doing these adventures, which was awesome to experience. And not only that, if you're not so much a visual reader and you haven't played those video games, there is a lot of terrain that's being covered here, and seeing the differences and reading about the differences in the landscape versus the cities and the towns made it come alive for me as a reader. So if you had not played those video games, you can still really enjoy your time here in such a vivid world. From the landscape, the creatures and the roads travelled, Rosell has really given the reader a feel of what The Last Ranger is about and what this world can do. Next up on the praise list has to be the magic itself, or the Mahia. Leanne, our protagonist, holds this secret. She was saved at birth by shaman magic, allowing her to pull life sense from others and into herself. These life-stealing / healing powers have always been described to her as something to be looked down upon, something of danger, something that should never be used and never be talked about, basically something that needs to be kept under wraps at all costs for her livelihood and the livelihood of others around her. But as this magic slowly seeps through the book, the reader is made aware of why that fear may be put in place, but also gets to experience what the ability actually looks like and how it can help or hinder our team as we're adventuring through the tale. This magic carries grave consequences. It is a magic which can take the life of someone else and put it into either herself or another person. They are stealing life. So Leanne is stealing life whenever she uses it. But I also think we've only scratched the surface of what this can do, which really excites me as a reader going forward into more installments in this series. I will say I like this magic because as the book progresses, so too does Leanne's curiosity. So coming from a place where she's being told that this magic is something to be avoided at all costs and it really shouldn't be used, we shouldn't even be thinking about it, to what if it isn't and I can use this thing to help me on my journey, and seeing that curiosity grow gradually as Leanne becomes more and more, not detached is the wrong word, but I guess there is a sense of growth of her as she leaves the safety net of the Rangers and has to learn to survive on her own. And with that comes this curiosity of, well, what can it really do? And we get to see her magic and her magia sort of blossom, particularly towards the end. And I really can't wait to see where it goes in the future. This magic system is something that excites me. The last praise that I will give The Last Ranger in this video is the side characters and the creatures, and of course the Titans, which were friggin' rad. We are in a forest-filled world. It is teeming with supernatural creatures, spirit animals, and these almighty Titans. The reader gets a good look at each of these in turn, from the forest witches who can shape to suit their needs, and I think will have a bigger part in the story as it comes across, but I think they were called Dians or something of that nature, and they were pretty cool when we did get to interact with them, but it was only a few times throughout the book. We also got to see spirit animals in the shape of a little spirit fox who has watched Leanne grow up in her time with the Rangers, and it was a really cute sort of animal companion-esque component of this book. And then we have the Titans themselves. I've said Titans a lot in the last minute or so. This to me was the most impressive video game element. These Titans had a very boss-like feeling, but also weren't necessarily dangerous, which is where that Horizon Zero Dawn sort of comparison comes in. These giant beasts slumber in the land, or in the Titan wilds, the range which we are currently exploring and working through as we put the pieces of this political game together. And something inside of Leanne, and something to do with Leanne's magic, stirs these Titans into awakening. We had some really cool scenes with these beasts. We got to see the land turtle, which was very reminiscent of the Discworld turtle with a Horizon Zero Dawn edge to it. We got to see river serpents come to life throughout the waters and what that really looked like. And we even were privy to a Kraken. If you're a fan of Monster of the Week vibes in a beautiful setting which carries a lot of high stakes, then you're going to have a good time here. I do have one main criticism of The Last Wilds, and that would be the amount of fade to black moments that we had within the story. There were a lot of times where Leanne got into strife and she would get hurt herself, and then she would use the magic and she would inevitably steal life from something, whether it be, you know, plant or human or something or other, and then it would just fade to black, and then we would wake up and do it again. There were a few moments like that in the book, too many to be comfortable, and enough for me to notice that it was happening fairly consistently. Because of that, some parts of the book felt a little repetitive, because we knew that we were going to get into a fight, Leanne would do something, it would fade to black, we'd wake up, figure it out, and do it all again the next day. But that being said, I still had a really good time with this book overall. For me personally, I would have liked to have seen the fallout of the scenes rather than that fade to black and end scene moment. But that being said, I had a really good time with this book. I think it was beautiful. I'm really looking forward to the next installment. I ended up giving this one a 4-star because I had a good time. I think J.D.L. Rosell has really written one hell of an adventure here and has made me interested in picking up, his backlog. He's got quite a few books out and having a look at what else he can do. Have you read The Last Ranger? Are you going to pick it up? Are you interested? Is this cover not the most gorgeous thing you've seen in your life? I am so jealous that I did not back the Kickstarter, but I think Kickstarter for book 2 is launching in February, so that's pretty exciting. If you like the content, give it one of these. If you want to see more of it, click subscribe at your will. I'll catch you in the next video. Ciao.